On the day of my grand wedding, the bride ran away from the mansion. But I, wearing a set of ridiculous wedding robes, faced the full house of guests alone. Lord Grand Secretary, the princess has been found. Your subordinate will immediately ask her to change clothes. No need. I smiled with relief. I tore off the wedding robe, and told someone to take it to the firewood shed to burn. Pass on the order, the wedding today is called off. From now on, Miss Jiang is free to move around the mansion, you must not stop her. Later, she knelt at the gate of the Xiao Mansion every day, begging me to see her once. Welcome to the magical world of ancient Chinese tales. This is the channel, Dragon's Path Tales. Now, let's begin the main story. When I was 7, I lost my parents. When I was 8, my elder brother and sister-in-law died. At the age of 13, I took the position of Grand Secretary of the current dynasty. Although I stood above 10,000 people and only below the emperor, a single misstep would send me plummeting into the bottomless abyss of the imperial court, crushed to pieces. Everyone outside knew that I was taciturn and unwilling to get close to others. The only one I could talk to was my aunt, who was far in the imperial harem, the current empress. Until one time, when I was traveling north and passed through Jiang, I rescued Jiang from a few gangsters. At that time, Jiang was still a sallow and emaciated little beggar. She was not afraid of me. Carrying a sack almost as tall as herself, she followed the carriage for several miles. What audacity! How dare you block the carriage of my lord? Do you want to die? My lord, please save my life! She put down the sack and knelt prostrate in front of the carriage. Inside the sack was the cold, stinking corpse of a young boy. She said it was her younger brother who had starved to death a few days earlier. Jiang had lost her parents when she was 6, and had been begging and wandering alone with her younger brother. But her younger brother was still too young. He couldn't survive the harsh winter in Jiang. I looked at her small face. Though it was covered in mud and dust, her eyes were still clear and pure. They were eyes I had never seen before. Later, I buried her younger brother for her and brought her back to the capital. Besides providing her with daily food and clothing, I had her learn to play the qing, jing, calligraphy, and painting, and taught her archery and horseback riding. Even though she had no talent and learned everything slowly, I was surprisingly patient with this. To make her happy, I took her to the Jiangnan region and to the northwest. We boated on lakes to enjoy the scenery and explored secluded places to find scenic spots. Perhaps it was because we had similar pasts. When facing her, I let down my guard, was infinitely tolerant, and was willing to temporarily remove the thorny armor that covered my body. After she reached the age of 15, the coming-of-age ceremony for girls in ancient China, I prepared a large sum of money and proposed to her. Xiao, with my status like this, I'm afraid I'm not even qualified to be your concubine. She was worried about the gap in status between us. So I entered the palace and knelt to beg the empress. I asked the empress to adopt Jiang as her adopted daughter, and also had the emperor bestow the title of princess on her. Xiao, the dancing girls and songstresses sent to you by other lords, will they and I call each other sisters in the future? I'm not a jealous person, but I just feel a little uncomfortable. But if you refuse the kindness of your colleagues because of my unreasonable request, you will be in a difficult position. She was not good at competing or being jealous of others. So I visited those lords to apologize. I sent all the beautiful women in my mansion back one by one. Xiao, I'm still young and haven't thought about matters of love between men and women. She thought marriage was still too early. So I put off the matter for another 2 years. Until today, the day of our grand wedding. I stood in front of the main hall, but her figure did not appear for a long time. Lord Grand Secretary, the princess, is gone. Her maid knelt on the ground, her voice trembling. I should have expected this long ago. I looked down at the wedding robe on my body and suddenly found it ridiculous. Perhaps I should have woken up 2 years ago. Jiang had never had the intention to marry me. I downed the strong wine in my hand in one gulp, then cupped my hands to apologize to the full house of guests. It wasn't until everyone had left that a guard came to report. Lord Grand Secretary, the princess has been found. This subordinate will immediately ask her to change clothes. No need. I smiled with relief. I waved my hand to let him retreat. When I turned around to go back to the house, I tore off the wedding robe on my body and threw it into the guard's arms. Pass on the order. The wedding today is called off. From now on, Miss Jiang is free to move around the mansion. You must not stop her. Tonight, I did not go to find Jiang, nor did I send someone to guard the gate tightly. Unexpectedly, she brought a bowl of sweet soup and knocked on the door of my study. I did not look up at her. My eyes were fixed tightly on the document in my hand. Jiang placed the sweet soup on the desk and pushed it in front of me. Lord Xiao, I was reckless today. I shouldn't have run away from the wedding because I was afraid. You were the one who set this wedding date. I raised my hand to turn the page, my tone calm. She was speechless for a moment, then continued. At that time, you were assassinated and unconscious. I only did it to make you happy. I never forced you. But your status itself is a kind of coercion to me. Slap. I closed the document and looked up at her. Looking at those eyes that once moved and fascinated me, now filled with fear and disgust, I laughed bitterly twice. It turned out that all these years, I had been forcing her. All right, I won't force you anymore. From now on, no one in this mansion will stop you. I flicked my sleeves and stood up, passing by her without pausing for even a moment. Perhaps she noticed that my attitude was different from usual. She suddenly knelt down and grabbed my robe tightly. Xiaoheng, I beg you, don't hurt Xian. He has already suffered enough, and I won't run away anymore. Don't make things too extreme. In these 9 years, Jiang had rarely cried in front of me. This was the second time. The first time was when she stood in front of Wei Xian, unafraid of swords and spears, to save his life. I hurt him. At that time, Wei Xian sneaked into the Xiao Mansion at night to assassinate me, killed countless of my subordinates, injured my left arm, and poisoned me, leaving me unconscious for several days. If you hadn't risked your life to stand in front of him, the grass on his grave would have been lush and green by now. I shook off Jiang Yu's hand and ordered someone to take her back to the other courtyard. Tonight, I couldn't sleep all night. Lying on the cold couch, the wound on my left arm still ached faintly. I called for a hidden guard and told him to withdraw the several subordinates who were tailing Wei Xian. Now both his legs were crippled, and he had exposed his identity because of a woman. As a discarded pawn under the Grand Tutor, he could no longer stir up any trouble. By the way, if he begs for food in the capital, give him 2 steamed buns as alms. Don't let him die too early. Yes, sir. The next morning, before I even stepped out of my room, I heard Jiang chattering noisily in the courtyard. Half a year ago, she had met Wei Xian by chance, and since then, she had rarely been close to me. Once, I loved listening to her chatter in my ear the most. But now, it only annoyed me. The stone table in the courtyard was filled with a whole table of dishes and pastries. The neat flower beds and green lawns were overly decorated by her with bright, colorful flower buds. Xiaoheng, you're awake! Come quickly! She put aside her cold expression from yesterday, broke into a smile, and pulled me to sit down in front of the stone table. She attentively arranged the bowls and chopsticks for me. Why did you get up so early today? Sit and wait for a moment, the last plate of peach pastries will be ready soon. Has the sun risen from the west? What are you up to? She took my hand and pretended to be docile. But her eyes dared not meet my scrutinizing gaze. I made you angry yesterday, so I'm here to apologize to you. You aren't still angry with me, are you? Xiaoheng, I couldn't sleep all night last night, so I got up very early today and told the servants to prepare all this. Her tone gradually turned dissatisfied, and she put the chopsticks in her hand back on the table. Looking at the full table of food, not a single dish was something I actually liked to eat. Only then did I realize how much I had indulged Jiang in the past, actually accompanying her in eating those unpalatable sweet and spicy dishes for so many years. Using the food from my mansion to curry favor with me, Miss Jiang, you've really got a good plan. I pushed the bowls and chopsticks away, no longer indulging her as I used to. Unexpectedly, Jiang got angry and even stood up, picked up a porcelain bowl, and smashed it on the ground. The shards of the porcelain bowl scattered everywhere. Her personal maid hurried forward, grabbed her hand, and shouted at me. My lord! The princess has hurt her little finger. Jiang pulled her hand back, pushed the maid aside, and her eyes were slightly red. Once, even if she scraped a little skin, I would feel distressed for a long time. But this time, there was no great disturbance in my heart. Xiaoheng, you've changed. You weren't like this before. She let her hands hang down, allowing the blood from her little finger to drip onto the ground. You are the Lord Grand Secretary. Why do you keep holding on to a mere hidden guard? He did hurt you, but you also made him unable to stand for the rest of his life. Why do you still press him so hard? You saved me back then. This life of mine was given by you. Today, I'll return it to you. Please don't hurt Xian anymore. As soon as she finished speaking, she pulled out a short blade from her waist and pressed it against her chest. The short blade was a gift from me when she first entered the mansion, meant for her self-defense. Now this blade was drawn by her for the first time, but it was for a man, used to threaten me with her own death. How precious a human life is! Back then, you knelt prostrate in front of my carriage, unafraid of anything, only wanting to save your own life. But now you speak of giving up your life so lightly. I laughed bitterly nonstop, and before the blade in her hand could pierce too deeply into her chest, I ordered someone to take it away. I also ordered someone to invite a doctor and send her into the house along with the doctor. But this action was not because I felt distressed or couldn't bear it. It was just that I didn't want her to die in my courtyard, especially not with the title of my aunt's adopted daughter. Xiaoheng, let me go! You've always been like this, high and mighty, selfish and cold. No wonder no one dares to approach you. Let me go. I can leave on my own. The noisy commotion finally died down. I stood up and put on my outer robe, but when I tied the sash, I found a half-palm-long bleeding cut on my arm. It must have been accidentally cut when Jiang smashed the bowl just now. The cut happened to cover the old wound on my left arm, adding another scar to the one that had finally healed. My lord, you're injured. Physician Xin is still in the camp. Let this subordinate go to inform her. No need. It's just a minor injury. I won't trouble her. Xin was a doctor in the military camp. When it came to medical skills, she was the only one I trusted. The poison I had been infected with this time was detoxified by her. She personally tasted the herbs, one by one, to cure me. But on the second day, she still came. I glared at the hidden guard standing beside me, sighed, and told him to retreat. There had been a battle beyond the border yesterday. He should have been too busy to come. If you're injured, tell me. Don't be afraid to trouble me. She tore open the robe at the wound. It was already red and swollen. After applying medicine to me, she caught sight of the dark circles under my eyes and looked worried. Didn't sleep again last night? I'd better prescribe some pain-relieving and sleep-aiding medicine for you. This can't go on. No need. You know me, I have to keep one eye open even when I sleep. She couldn't persuade me. She took a box of fish crisp from her bosom and stuffed it into mine. I bought this casually on the way. You don't like sweet things, so eat this to get rid of the taste of the medicine after drinking it. By the way, I met Jiang on the road. She seemed to be looking unwell, and she was still with Wei Zian. Are you not going to care about her anymore? I can't care about her anymore, and I don't want to. Someone who once could barely walk when she had a minor illness now goes out to see her lover even when she's injured. Jiang love for Wei Zian is truly deep. I shook my head, suddenly feeling tired. I originally wanted to send someone to drive Xin back first. But she insisted on staying. I can't stand running back and forth like this. I'll stay for 2 days and leave when your wound is fully healed. I originally thought her staying in my mansion would be a short 2-day rest. But during these 2 days I developed a high fever and fell into a coma again. This made he stay awake for 2 days and nights, having to guard by my side the whole time. Physician Shen, take the gold in the room. Consider it your reward for these few days. Lord Xiao giving me this? It's better to give me the rare herbs stored in the pharmacy of your mansion. All right, from now on, take whatever you want. When my health recovered, I took her to the largest medical clinic in the city. All the licensed medical clinics in the capital are run by the Song family, who are on good terms with the Xiao family. The ones in my mansion are nothing. From now on, if you need to buy medicinal herbs, just charge them to my account. I told the shopkeeper, then took the key to the clinic's medicine storehouse. But before I could walk out of the inner room, I heard a commotion outside. I lifted a corner of the door curtain and saw 2 familiar faces. At that moment, Jiang was supporting Wei Zian, clinging tightly to the gate of the medical clinic, her face full of urgency. Shopkeeper Wu, doctors have the heart of parents. Isn't it true that all those who run medical clinics save the dying and heal the wounded? Why won't you treat him? Your Highness the Princess. It's not that I don't want to, it's just that even an immortal couldn't heal this young master's legs. You'd better find someone more skilled. Nonsense. You won't even try. Do you still know that I'm the princess? I think you don't want to run this clinic anymore. Ridiculous. Leaning behind the curtain, I couldn't help but sneer. The Song family's medical clinic, how could it be shut down just because of her, a nominal princess with no real power? Your Highness, please leave. Don't make things difficult for me. There are still many common people waiting to get medicine behind you. The common people standing outside the door chimed in, shouting and even cursing. But they didn't dare to step forward, fearing her status. Jiang Yu's face turned red, but she still refused to move aside. I don't care. If you don't treat him today, I won't leave. If anything happens to him, I'll enter the palace and ask the Empress to send people to smash this lousy clinic. Who dares? I'd like to see. Seeing Jiang Yu going too far, I lifted the door curtain and walked out. When she saw me, a moment of panic flashed across her face, but the next second, it turned fierce again. Xiaoheng, I won't go back with you. Who said I came to find you? Miss Jiang, don't flatter yourself. Although this clinic isn't mine, if someone intentionally comes to cause trouble here, they are also offending me, Xiaoheng. What I said seemed to be beyond her expectation. Even shopkeeper Wu beside her was shocked. Before this, who in the capital didn't know that Jiang Yu was the sole favorite of the Lord Grand Secretary? No one dared to even scold her. Xiaoheng, you've been angry with me for 2 days, isn't that enough? If you let this clinic treat Zian, I'll go back with you obediently. Shopkeeper Wu, I shall have a favor to ask of you. Jiang Yu thought that when I spoke this time, I was again begging for her sake to keep her. But after I finished speaking the rest of the sentence, her face turned pale. Don't care about anyone's face, just drive these 2 out like hoodlums. Shopkeeper Wu paused for a moment, then came to his senses and agreed repeatedly. He quickly called the staff to drive the 2 people blocking the door away. Don't be foolish enough to beg him for my sake anymore. Let's go. No, Zian, your legs. Jiang Yu cried. After helping Wei Zian sit down, she walked up to me and knelt down in front of me. Xiaoheng, I promise. This is the last time I'll beg you. The last time. I don't know how many times I've heard this. Half a year ago, I took Jiang Yu on a trip to the south and was returning to the capital. But on the way, I received a secret letter from the palace and had to drive to the palace temporarily. Worried about her safety on the road, I left all my hidden guards by her side. I only withdrew them after she returned to the capital safely. Unexpectedly, she had rescued the unconscious Wei Zian on the way. She even secretly brought him into my mansion to recuperate. It was because of this that Wei Zian easily figured out the layout of my mansion, learned that I usually stayed in the study of the north courtyard, and this led to his later night assassination attempt on the Xiao Mansion. After sending him out of the mansion, Jiang Yu hid this from me again. Every month, she took the carriage specially assigned to her by me to see him. She also used the money from my mansion to curry favor with him. Even later, when Jiang Yu found out that he was from the Grand Tutor's mansion and that he had the intention to harm me, she still pretended to be ignorant in front of me and stayed close to him. To save his life, she knelt down and begged me repeatedly. What could I do? She just knew that I couldn't bear to see her sad or distressed, and couldn't bear to see her go on a hunger strike or get sick. That's why she was so bold and unafraid. Originally, I thought she had rescued Wei Ziyan only because she was kind-hearted and benevolent. On the day of the assassination attempt, I also assumed she had just been frightened. It wasn't until the night before the wedding, when she came to beg again, that I endured the pain in my left arm and rejected her request for the first time. The next day, she ran away without a word. Jiang Yu, you say I'm high and mighty, selfish and cold, then why should I agree to your request? I'll go back to the mansion with you and marry you obediently, okay? I lowered my head and looked at that small face, which was crying bitterly. There was no longer the slightest touch of emotion in my heart. All right. After I instructed shopkeeper Wu to take Wei Ziyan into the clinic, Jiang Yu really went back to the Xiao Mansion obediently. Shopkeeper Wu knew the inside story. Wei Ziyan's legs were really crippled. Even without me doing anything, how could the Grand Tutor's mansion keep such a hidden danger? The reason they still kept this person alive was presumably because they had set their sights on Jiang Yu, who was running around for him. The people in the Grand Tutor's mansion were insidious and cunning. They would definitely find a suitable time to capture Jiang Yu and use her to blackmail me. The reason they hadn't made a move yet was just that they were afraid that Jiang Yu would run away from the wedding and that I would cut off all ties with her. If they made a move now, they would alert the enemy and end up in vain. This time, I let Jiang Yu return to the mansion. The wedding will be held again, and it must be done with great fanfare, making it known throughout the city. Let them think that Jiang Yu is still the love of my heart, the Achilles heel of me, Xiaoheng. Lord Grand Secretary has cut off all love and affection. Truly a brilliant move. Physician Shin, speaking so disrespectfully, aren't you afraid I'll silence you permanently? Knowing I was joking, Xinhe smiled and said no more. She only urged me to focus on healing and not to get angry or agitated these days. After watching me finish the last bowl of medicinal soup, she finally felt at ease and got into the carriage to leave. This time, after Jiang Yu returned to the mansion, she was much more obedient than before. Every word and action of hers towards me was filled with awkward flattery and fawning. You don't have to worry about these matters. Rest in peace. Let the servants handle the wedding preparations. I also want to do my part. I was wrong about what happened earlier. She leaned over, barely suppressing a trace of reluctance and fear, and tried to press her cheek against mine. Yanzi! Bring over the gifts I prepared for the princess. I pretended to inadvertently dodge her kiss. Glancing at her embarrassment as she stepped back a few steps, I chuckled to myself. Having to get close to me like this, how wronged she must feel. During meals, I had all her usual favorite dishes removed. Seeing this, Jiang Yu clearly held resentment, but she didn't dare to say a word. She silently picked up her bowl and chopsticks, knitted her brows tightly, picked up a bite with her chopsticks, and put it in her mouth. Now, it wasn't just the food. I had someone move her bedroom to the side courtyard. I also ordered the peach trees that had been planted in the courtyard for years to be cut down. Back then, to make Jiang Yu happy, I had specially brought her a bag of peach seeds from my hometown. But after planting them, every spring, I had to endure the unbearable itching of peach blossom rash on my skin. Jiang Yu had never noticed this. Xiaoheng, I know you still hold resentment towards me, but Yanzi is weak. Moving around like this with me, and catching a cold these days, she's the one I brought back to the mansion. How can I bear to see her suffer because of me? Weak? Suffer? Her personal maid was someone she had rescued from outside the mansion last year. When she was sent here, she was barely breathing. At that time, it was me who got up in the middle of the night to send for a doctor. It was also me who agreed to let her keep the maid. Now, it was just moving to another room, yet it was as if I intentionally wanted to harm someone. Tomorrow, the third princess will come to stay for a while. After thinking about it, the east courtyard is the most suitable to be vacated. The third princess, Su Qingyang, was the empress's biological eldest daughter. Naturally, she couldn't stay in a shabby courtyard. Upon hearing this, Jiang didn't dare to say anything more. Sister Imperial is coming? Why didn't you tell me earlier? I haven't prepared anything. I don't know what she likes, Xiao. You're close to my adoptive mother. You must know what Sister Imperial likes, right? I shook my head and couldn't help but find it ridiculous. If Su Qingyang knew that even a mere nominal princess dared to call her Sister Imperial, I wondered what kind of expression she would show. The next day, Jiang waited at the mansion gate early in the morning. When she saw the imperial carriage, she happily went up to greet it. Sister Imperial! It's been almost 3 years since we last met at the palace banquet. Su Qingyang paused in her steps as she got off the carriage, seemingly shocked by Jiang Yu's sudden address. She quietly dodged Jiang Yu's attempt to help her, and quickly walked over to me. The smile on Jiang Yu's face froze. After a moment of hesitation, she followed. Greetings to Your Highness the Third Princess. I cupped my hands in salute. Before I could straighten up, Su Qingyang grabbed my sleeve. Xiao, what's wrong with you? You even tolerated her running away from the wedding? Su Qingyang lowered her voice, her tone filled with disappointment that I was not living up to her expectations. Seeing Jiang Yu approaching from behind, she stepped back a few steps and, along with her maid, hurried towards the main hall. Jiang Yu didn't back down despite being deliberately ignored. Instead, she picked up the gifts she had carefully chosen the night before and stepped forward again. Sister Imperial, this crimson-hearted glass hairpin looks wonderful with your outfit. Let me pin it on for you, okay? She picked up the hairpin and reached out to do it. Su Qingyang turned her head to dodge and spoke to stop her. Wait a minute! Why does this hairpin look so familiar to me? She took the hairpin from Jiang Yu's hand, stared at it for a moment, then looked at me. This hairpin was a gift from a neighboring country, originally intended by the Empress for Su Qingyang. At that time, Jiang Yu liked it, so I had asked Su Qingyang for it to give to Jiang Yu. Now, Jiang Yu had picked it out and was giving it back. Truly ridiculous. Miss Jiang, do you know that this hairpin was obtained by the Lord Grand Secretary from me to give to you? Now you want to return it to me, isn't that inappropriate? Su Qingyang had never had the slightest liking for Jiang Yu. Naturally, she spoke her mind directly, showing no mercy. Jiang Yu had no idea about this. After hearing her words, she flusteredly took back the hairpin and told Yanzi to put it away quickly. She also gave me a rather resentful glance. I was showing off my meager skills and made a fool of myself. Sister Imperial, please calm down and have some tea. Jiang Yu took the teacup from the servant's hand and personally handed it to Su Qingyang, hoping to laugh it off. But Su Qingyang still refused to let her off. She had no intention of taking the teacup. Miss Jiang, what have you been calling me this whole time? Sister Imperial? But I have no relationship with you at all. Isn't that also inappropriate? I beg Your Highness the Third Princess's forgiveness. It's just that the Empress is my adoptive mother, so I was being presumptuous. Jiang Yu's hands, which had been holding the teacup up for a long time, had grown sore and were trembling slightly in midair. Her fair little face turned as red as pork liver. In the past, I would have spoken up to protect her long ago. How could I have borne to see her being embarrassed like this? Your Highness the Third Princess, Jiang Yu doesn't understand the rules. I'll apologize to you on her behalf. When I spoke, Jiang Yu immediately breathed a sigh of relief and was about to put down the teacup. If you're still angry, I'll punish her to copy the rules of propriety and confine her to her quarters for 2 days, so she can learn a lesson. Good. I think that's an excellent idea. Su Qingyang understood the implied meaning in my words and immediately agreed. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yu was so shocked that she hadn't even set the teacup down properly before it slipped off the edge of the table. The teacup shattered on the ground, and Su Qingyang jumped up in surprise. Yanzi beside her was so frightened that she knelt down directly, but Jiang Yu still stood there, biting her lips tightly, her face full of shock and grievance. Very well, this humble woman understands. After saying this, she ran out of the main hall in a fit of pique. Su Qingyang stared at her departing figure in disbelief, almost amused by anger. Xiaoheng, don't tell me you really intend to make her your principal wife. Your Highness has traveled a long way and been frightened. You'd better go to the east courtyard to rest for half a day first. After settling Su Qingyang down. Before I could rest for even a moment, Jiang Yu came to find me again. Didn't I order her to be confined to her quarters for 3 days? What's the matter? Are my words no longer effective? You don't need to take your anger out on others. I insisted on coming to see you. Jiang Yu shielded the maid behind her, her eyes red as if she had suffered a great wrong. Lord Grand Secretary, did I bring shame to you? Or have you not yet forgiven me? If so, hit me. Tell the servants to beat me with a few sticks to teach me a lesson, as long as it makes you feel better. In 2 more days we will be married. There should be no lingering resentment between husband and wife. No matter how you treat me in the future, I am willing to bear it. Jiang Yu knelt down slowly, looking as if she was ready to face death. Before I could say anything, Yanzi beside her burst into tears first. The noise gave me a splitting headache. How could I, the dignified Grand Secretary, bicker with a young woman like you? All right, it's getting late, go back first. If this matter isn't resolved, I'll kneel in your courtyard until you're completely no longer angry. Seeing her unrelenting attitude, it made me seem unfeeling. Over these 9 years, have I ever truly blamed you? You have no need to worry. Yanzi, help your young lady go down. The confinement is lifted, and she doesn't need to copy the rules either. Seeing me return to my usual gentleness, she let go of her worries and left happily with a smile. After she left, the smile I had curved up instantly faded. I looked at the candlelight flickering constantly on the desk. My expression was dark and unclear. Hearing that my wedding with Jiang Yu was still going ahead as planned, Su Qingyang was so angry that she left for the palace early. Before leaving, she even threatened to cut off her friendship with me. Xiaoheng, this time when I return to the palace, I will definitely report to Mother Empress and ask Father Emperor to revoke Jiang Yu's title of princess. Anyway, you can take the blame for her. This princess won't accompany you any longer. I smiled and saw Su Qingyang off. What she said was exactly what I was thinking. At that time, going to the Empress to ask for such a title for Jiang Yu really seemed inappropriate now. On the day of the grand wedding, Xinhe paid a visit. She said she had come to share in the joy, but brought me a basket of strange wedding gifts. I told the great general that half of the urgently prepared medicinal herbs in the military camp should be charged to your account. When the general heard that, he told every brother in the camp to prepare a wedding gift for you. They're all rough men, and the things aren't rare, Lord Grand Secretary, please don't dislike them. Of course not. Physician Shen, please come in. I took the bamboo basket and handed it to the servant in charge of receiving gifts. At the gate, guests arrived in an endless stream. When they heard that the bride was still Jiang Yu, their expressions varied and they whispered among themselves. What kind of spell has Jiang Yu cast on the Lord Grand Secretary? She looks just average, yet she makes him indulge her so much. Isn't she a princess? I heard the Empress thinks highly of her. No matter how highly the Empress thinks of her, they're not blood relatives. How can she act so recklessly? Hush, keep your voice down. Here comes the Lord Grand Secretary. Every word of those whispers just now fell clearly into my ears. After toasting a round of wine, Xinhe suddenly leaned over and pulled me aside. Lord Grand Secretary, I tested the wine you asked me to, there's knockout drug in it. Good, I see. Thank you for your trouble, Physician Shen. Sir, are you all right? I waved my hand and walked to the door of the bridal chamber with my hidden guard. Jiang Yu had been waiting inside early. Xiaoheng, don't miss the auspicious hour. Let me toast you a cup. Good. I picked up the wine cup in front of me and drank it all in one gulp. When I lowered my head, I accidentally caught a glimpse of the green dress she hadn't fully covered beneath her red wedding robe. Bang! The wine cup fell to the ground with a crash. I didn't have time to support my forehead before I collapsed onto the table. Sir! Xiao Heng! Jiang Yu called out a few times. After confirming that I was completely unconscious, she hurriedly dodged the guards at the door and ran away. After she left, I opened my eyes. Jiang Yu had run away again. But this time, she had recklessly thrown herself into a wolf's den, and that was exactly what I wanted. After seeing the guests off, Xianxia was still sitting at the table. Physician Shen, is there anything else? Nothing much, I just want to ask you to have a cup of wine. Don't worry, the wine I give is definitely not poisoned. She smiled and pushed a cup of clear wine in front of me. Then she drank the cup in her hand in one go. After all, we've been friends for more than 10 years. You may not understand me, but I more or less understand you. Don't pretend that everything is fine, Lord Grand Secretary. People always have moments when they break down. Xianxia looked at me, her eyes bright and shining. The moonlight shone on her face, making this usually decisive and vigorous person look much softer. But it wasn't appropriate to drink more tonight. I appreciate your kindness, Physician Shen, but drinking impairs judgment. I have very important matters to attend to tomorrow. I declined her kindness, but Xianxia wasn't annoyed. After hesitating for a moment, she suddenly took out a porcelain bottle from her bosom. This is a love goo from the western regions. If you have use for it, I'll give it to you. No need. Hearing my straightforward refusal, a moment of relief suddenly flashed across Xianxia's face. She curved her lips into a smile, and put the porcelain bottle back. I understand. Then I wish you success in your mission. Early the next morning, a secret letter arrived from the Grand Tutor's mansion. Inside the letter was the personal white jade pendant I had given to Jiang Yu. How impatient they were. I folded the letter paper and put it away. Only after finishing my breakfast did I leisurely head to the Grand Tutor's mansion. Inside the Grand Tutor's mansion, Yang Hu got straight to the point, had Jiang Yu tied up with ropes and thrown in front of me. Grand Tutor Yang, what are you doing? Let's speak plainly. Xiao Heng, do as I say, and I'll return her to you. Yang Hu leaned back in his red sandalwood chair, looking confident of victory. I knew he wanted me to advise on state affairs, reject the emperor's orders, and suppress the Song family. Is there any other way out? Yes. Yang Hu looked at the missing little finger on his left hand, sneered twice. He told the servant to throw a short knife in front of me. Or cut off the 5 fingers of your left hand, I can also spare her life. I frowned tightly and picked up the short knife. Jiang Yu on the ground couldn't sit still anymore. She struggled against the restraints behind her and shouted loudly. Xiao Heng, last night I only went to say a final goodbye to Xian. I prepared that cup of wine for you to drink only because I was afraid that more misunderstandings would arise between us. Don't save me! I'm not worth it! She cried so hard that she could barely speak, her shoulders trembling constantly for fear of the cold blade at her neck. I let out a long, slow sigh. I took a few steps forward. Yang Hu urged impatiently. Hurry up and make a decision! If you delay any longer, I'll cut off her fingers first. What's the rush? I picked up the apple in front of me in a leisurely manner and, in front of both of them, began to peel it with the short knife. Yang Hu never expected me to do this. His face changed drastically. He jumped up from his chair in a fit of rage and pressed the blade closer to Jiang Yu's neck. Do you think I dare not do it? I can kill her right now. Then do it. If Princess Qingyang dies a tragic death in the Grand Tutor's mansion, I wonder what a huge stir it will cause when word reaches the palace. Yang Hu naturally didn't dare to really kill her. But he never expected that upon seeing Jiang Yu, I could still remain so calm and detached, as if it had nothing to do with me. Of course, the one who was even more shocked was Jiang Yu, who was kneeling on the ground in a sorry state. She was so frightened that her tears fell even more fiercely. Xiao Heng, I really see you clearly now. In fact, you only love yourself more. I'm just a plaything you can call at will when you're in a good mood. I'm insignificant, not comparable to your fame and fortune. I don't need anyone else to do it. I'll die right now. Don't regret it. Jiang raised her head, stretched out her neck, and took the initiative to move closer to the blade. But just as the blade cut through a layer of skin, the knife in Yang Hua's hand fell out of his grasp. He angrily lifted Jiang up from the ground, grabbed her neck tightly with one hand. Jiang panicked, but the word help was stuck in her throat. Good. Lord Grand Secretary is indeed ruthless. Then I'll do whatever I want with this little beauty. I don't dare to kill her, but I'll keep her in my mansion and torture her slowly. Yang Hua ground his teeth, still trying to provoke me, but suddenly a guard ran in from outside the courtyard. He knelt down in a hurry and reported. Lord Yang, the mural hanging on the wall in the east chamber is gone. What? Where are the guards at the gate? Are you all useless fools? Yang Hua pushed Jiang away, kicked the guard, and hurried out. When he passed by me, he finally realized the truth and discovered that he had fallen for a diversionary tactic. My target was never Jiang. It was the military deployment map he had hidden in the chamber. I hadn't come to throw myself into a trap either. Once I got this map, I could confirm Yang Hua's crime of plotting rebellion. So what if it's the military defense map? This was bestowed by His Majesty. I hid it only to prevent those with ulterior motives from coveting it. Xiao, even the most careful plans have loopholes. You've been careless. I took the map handed over by the hidden guard. I placed it on the desk and pushed it gently. Lord Yang, are you sure this map was bestowed by His Majesty? Of course He glanced at the unfolded military deployment map on the desk. It was actually of the imperial city's interior, and was immediately dumbfounded. No! This isn't the one. Men! Take this old traitor down! Upon hearing my order, the soldiers who had been waiting outside the door rushed in all at once and surrounded Yang Hua and his subordinates. Xiao, you tampered with it. This map was hidden by you. Yang Hua was so angry that his face turned red, and he couldn't get the words out of his throat. Now, regardless of whether the map was real or not, it was taken from his room in front of everyone. He would definitely be blamed for this crime. Otherwise, how could the emperor feel at ease? As for Jiang, she had already collapsed on the ground and fainted for a while. I ordered someone to take her away and throw her into the medical clinic next door. This time, using her to eliminate a major trouble of mine could be considered as her repaying me for providing her with food, clothing, and shelter over the years. Finally, I wish her and Wei Ziyan, may they eventually be together. In the following days, Jiang came to the mansion to look for me a few times. I refused to see her, and even when she came, I told someone to stop her outside. Sir, the princess already knows she was wrong, and she was so frightened a few days ago. Please forgive her just one more time. Yanzi knelt on the ground, constantly pleading for Jiang. I almost forgot. This person was rescued by Jiang. Maybe it's better to send her out to be with Jiang. You and your mistress have a deep bond. You should share both joys and sorrows. Men! Drive this maid out! Sir! Yanzi's eyes widened, filled with reluctance. Before being dragged away, she clung tightly to the door and refused to leave. Lord Grand Secretary, no! It's this servant who talked too much. Half a month later, I heard from the young master of the Song family. There was a man with crippled legs who had committed suicide in a room at their family's medical clinic. The next day, at the gate of the mansion, which had finally become quieter, another unexpected visitor appeared. Jiang, wearing tattered linen clothes and looking downcast, knelt on the steps. She begged me to bury Wei Ziyan for her. At that time, Shenhe was also standing beside me. Letting go of past grudges and burying a hated enemy, Miss Jiang is trying to give the Lord Grand Secretary a good reputation that will be praised for 100 generations. You've really put a lot of thought into it. I'm talking to the Lord Grand Secretary. What right does a lowly physician like you have to butt in? Jiang bit her lip, her eyes full of stubbornness and shame. Miss Jiang, that's not the right thing to say. Lord Shen is now the director of the Capital Medical Institute, a fifth-rank official. If this were in the imperial court, your head wouldn't be enough to be cut off. Xiao Heng! Don't be like this, you weren't like this before! Jiang cried again, her face filled with sorrow and misery, looking pitiful. She straightened up, climbed up the steps step by step, moved to my feet, and grabbed the hem of my robe tightly. She screamed and cried heart-wrenchingly. But I had no patience left. I kicked her away. I ordered the guards to drag her away. Listen up, from now on, every time this person comes, drive her away. Jiang, you really didn't dare to come again. But when I entered the palace, I accidentally heard a few palace maids sitting together chatting in the imperial garden. They said a strange person had come to the palace, disheveled hair, wearing dirty clothes. With just a waist token, she tried to break into the jade-clear palace where the empress lived. She even insisted that she was Princess Jiang, favored by the empress, who had adopted her as a foster daughter. Princess Jiang, I seem to have heard that name before. I think there was one once, but a few months ago, after the third princess returned to the palace, His Majesty revoked that title. Who knows? That crazy woman, no one knows where she stole the waist token.